Hey everybody, hope y'all are doing good today. I am in the kitchen and today I'm going to make chicken and dumplings. I'm so excited. This is not something I make all the time, usually a couple of times during the year, and then I'll make it on the holidays. Sometimes my dad will request it and I'll make it for him. But today I'm not making a big batch because it's just going to be me and my husband. I may take some because he adores chicken and dumplings. And you know, every time I make these, I think about my precious mama. She was such a wonderful woman, and her cooking was absolutely delicious. I've never been able to duplicate her recipes by any means. I try really hard. This recipe that I'm doing today is exactly how she made it. My method of cutting the dumplings up is going to be a little different than hers, but this is what she used. I've got my station set up. I've already got my chicken cooked. I've got 6 thighs that I've already boiled, and I've already deboned the chicken. I'll put that in there. I have right here with me 2 cups of self-rising flour, and I have a bowl to put my dumplings in once I cut them, and then just extra flour that I'll need to kind of dust over them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, and I've also got on the stove back here my stock boiling. I've got the water. I put 2.5 quarts of water, 2 cups of chicken stock, and a tablespoon of bouillon. Actually, it's the better than bouillon. It's very, very flavorful. And I also added some black pepper to the broth back here because we love black pepper in our dumplings. Now, I didn't add any salt because the bouillon is quite salty. I'll check it at the end and see if I need to add some more or whatever. So, like I said, I've got 2 cups of self-rising flour here. To this, I'm going to add ice water. There are so many different ways to make dumplings. Some people use milk. Some people use chicken broth. But I use what my mama used. And she used self-rising flour and ice water. So, I'm not exactly sure how much I need. This is a quart jar, obviously. So, I'm just going to pour some in until I think it's enough and mix that around. Oops. It's probably about 1/4 of that quart jar. We'll see if that's enough. I don't think it's going to be enough, so we're going to add a little more. I always like to make sure I have more ice water than what I need because I don't want to have to hurry up and get more water. Just have enough, have plenty before you start. When you use ice water for your dumpling dough, it makes it just a little bit harder to roll out than it would if you used, you know, anything else, any other kind of liquid. But we like ours thin. We love fluffy dumplings. They're really good too. But we like our dumplings, you know, kind of thin and not real thick and doughy. So, but it's your preference. You know, I have a lot of family and friends that like the thick ones. But that's just what my family enjoys, is the thin ones. So you're going to see this dough's come together here. And it's quite moist. It's not a real dry dough. But that's good for me because all I'm going to do is pinch off of this and then roll out a little bit each time. And what I'm going to do once I cut my dough squares, my dumplings, I'm just going to layer them in this bowl and I'm going to flour them each time. Keeping flour on them will keep them from cooking away. You know how sometimes you cook dumplings and they just kind of cook away and you're like, where did my dumplings go? The flour helps keep them from cooking away. And it also helps thicken the broth a little too. So I'm going to flour my board. When Mama done this, she used aluminum foil or wax paper, and she would spread it out and do her dough. But I just use this big old cutting board that I have because it works just as good. All right, so I'm going to break half of this. I'm not making a whole lot of dumplings today, simply because there's only going to be about 3 people eating it, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of leftovers. So I'm going to flour the top so it don't stick to my hands. Then just kind of move it around. It's a very light dough. When you're doing this, you're going to notice that it's such a light dough. And I don't need it a whole lot because I don't want my dumplings tough. Just enough, and it'll make them light and fluffy. Even though they're thin, they'll still be fluffy. So you see about how much dough I have here. I'm going to use my roller, my dough roller. And y'all, let me tell you, this thing is heavy. It's real marble. So it's got weight to it. I can't remember if this was Wade's grandmother, maybe, what she used when she rolled her dough out. I can't remember. I'll have to find out. But I love it because you don't have to, exert any energy. Not like you need to exert much energy anyway, but you just kind of lay it on there, and the weight of it just kind of does it itself. See how easy? I love this dough roller. I'm going to roll this out pretty thin. Put some more flour because it's sticking to my dough roller. And by any means do I know how to roll out a perfect square or a perfect circle. So I'm just going to roll this out till I think it's thin enough to do our dumplings. See just the weight of this. I don't know where she got this rolling pin at. I'm not sure at all. But I'm glad she did because now I get to use it. And I've got an apron on today, y'all. I don't normally wear an apron. Sometimes I do, but and when I'm making dumplings, I get flour everywhere. It's always in my floor. It's always on me. And I've got a black shirt on too, so that wouldn't marry very well together. So I've got this, I don't know, probably about an eighth of an inch. It's very, very thin. It's self-rising flour, so it will rise a little bit. And I'll tell you how I'm going to cut mine. Mama would use a butter knife or a case knife, and she would just cut lines down and then just cut squares. And once she cut those, she immediately dropped them into the boiling water. Boiling water. This is a difference I do. I cut mine with a pizza cutter, and then I'll flour them a little bit. My southern's coming out, flour them a little bit, put them in my bowl. And then once I get all my dumplings made, then I will take it to the stove and drop my dumplings. But I can hear my broth over there boiling. It smells so good in this kitchen. I can't wait till the holidays. Like I said in a previous video, we just built our house, and it'll be my first everything. First Halloween, first Thanksgiving, first Christmas. And I am so super excited. So super excited. Very blessed. This has been a dream of ours for a very long time. And it's finally coming true. So what I'm going to do is go ahead. And these are not going to be perfectly square. There's going to be smaller ones and there's going to be bigger ones. But it's okay. It's going to taste delicious. So we've got, and then you'll have smaller ones on the end where it's not perfectly square, but that's okay. Go in the opposite direction. Y'all, I can't even cut a straight line with a pizza cutter. It's going like this. It's okay. As long as they taste good. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of flour in my bowl where I'm going to put my dumplings so that they'll have a bed to lay on. And then I'm just going to pick them up. See how thin? And I'm going to flour each layer so that they're not sticking to each other. And you need to make sure that you flour your base well. So when you pick these up, see that one's a little bit smaller. When you pick these up, they don't stick to each other. Now, if I was feeding the crowd, like for the holidays, I would actually probably double this batch because everybody loves chicken and dumplings. And so you always want to make sure you have enough. I know I've eaten chicken and dumplings before, and I'm like, where are the dumplings? Like, I don't see any dumplings. And that's the best part. be doing this just takes me back when I was being in the kitchen with Mom, and her making chicken and dumplings, and she would always say, "Now listen, y'all, don't come in the kitchen. I'm doing dumplings. I don't need everybody in the kitchen while I'm in here doing dumplings." I take after her when it comes to stuff like that, because I'm one of those that if I'm cooking in the kitchen, I want to be in the kitchen. I don't want to have to be walking around other people. Are you that way? Do you like being in the kitchen? Now, if they're wanting to sit over there and talk, that's fine with me. But I'm just when I'm trying to maneuver around and get like a big meal cooked, then I would rather it just be me in the kitchen. I know that sounds selfish of me, but all right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get this other half out and make my dumplings, and then I'll show you what the broth looks like, and we'll drop them in together. I'll add my chicken last after my dumplings cook. After I get all my dumplings in, then I'll actually add my chicken. Okay, I'll be right back. So I'm back, and I'm dropping my dumplings. I know you can't see it. I wish I could get the camera up where you can see it. I'll try to add a video. But the broth is at a rolling boil. And my mama always said, drop the dumpling where the rolling boil is. Sometimes you have to have something. I always use a wooden spoon to kind of move them around, but don't stir them hardly at all, because it'll break them up. You just kind of want a gentle stir. Smells so good. It smells of fall. And you know how it's really hot in the summertime? You just don't want soups and stews and things like that, or we don't, but things like the chicken and dumplings and soups and stews, and it's getting fall. I know sometimes it don't feel like it down here in the South because it still stays so hot. Feels good outside today. There's a breeze, and it's overcast today, so. Made quite a bit of dumplings, more than I thought I was going to. Not sure if I'll need all these or not, but we'll see. I got my heat turned up to almost high because, this will cool as you're adding these dumplings, so you want to keep it at a rolling boil. And flouring each section of this helps keep the dumplings together better. I've got my chicken over here because I'm going to add it once I get finished adding all my dumplings. I have made these dumplings before where I've literally got 2 pots going, or I have a big stock pot. They get eaten. All right, y'all, so I'm going to finish dropping my dumplings. And then once I get done dropping them all, I'll put the lid on it and let them cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll check them after 10 minutes, and then I'll show you what they look like. All right, y'all, the chicken and dumplings are done. One thing I was going to add, I forgot to mention, is one thing my mom done. Probably about halfway in dumping the dumplings, she would add a pat of butter, not quite a tablespoon, just a little pat. So I've only added 2 pats of butter to this. It just richens the broth, and it just makes it more velvety and silky. And I was going to show y'all, I'm so excited. My husband got me these dishes. It has plates with it as well, and I think some bigger bowls. One year for Christmas or my birthday, I can't remember. But I love using them in the fall. See the acorns on it? Aren't they the cutest? I just love bringing these out in the fall and using them. So I'm going to go ahead and dip some dumplings. I don't know if I'm going to be able to taste them or not. They're going to be so hot, they're still boiling. So, smells so good. And I added my chicken, so there's plenty of chicken in there. And depending on how thick, we like a juicy broth, because a lot of times what I do is I'll make a pat of cornbread, a pound of cornbread, however you want to say it, and we'll put the chicken and dumplings on that. or over that. I'm not going to today, but because we don't have to have it, but I wanted to show you. If I can do it without spilling it. It's so hot. See, I'll try to see if I can show you one of the dumplings. See, they're not real thick, but they're light and fluffy. They're still on the thin side. See if I can show you better. It's hard to hold that hot bowl up. See how they're thin? That's a pat of butter I had left over. Let me see if I can taste this without burning my mouth off. Mmm. Man, it's got the best flavor. It's so chickeny. I highly recommend putting the bouillon base in there. In fact, what I used was better than bouillon. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. It's rich. It's got the best flavor. That broth is so delicious, and that dumpling was so fluffy. Well, I'm going to get off here and enjoy this delicious bowl of chicken and dumplings. I hope you guys make this. If you do, let me know how it turned out. If you have other variations of chicken and dumplings that you do share with me, I may try that sometimes. We always like trying new things. You never know what you'll like better. But if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell. That way you'll get notifications when I post a new video. I hope y'all have a great day. If you make the chicken and dumplings, I so hope you enjoy it. Y'all have a good day. Thanks. Bye.